I recently looked at some of my locos and realised I had quite a few LMS or Midland region or pre-grouping, in fact, locomotives that weren't from my normal LNER Eastern region. And here's one of them. It's the first LMS loco I think I got. It looks like, I hope it looks like, a 1F half cab, open cab shunter. In fact, it was made from an old Triang body attached to a Bachmann chassis. The chassis has seen better days and it's a little bit jerky now. One problem is I don't have any LMS coaches to run behind it, so I've got a, well, it's marked as Eastern Region and it's in BR Maroon, but there's a clerestory coach behind it. And let's see how it runs. Meanwhile, on the inner track is a Stanier 8F. It's actually a Hornby Dublo model. Runs very smoothly, but I think it needs remagnetising. It draws a very large current. Fine if you're using a H&M Duet controller, that can easily power it well, but my more modern Gauge Master controllers struggle to get up to much of a speed, so I may have to get that remagnetised, but it was very cheap when I bought it off eBay. This one is actually an LNER livery, because obviously some of the 8Fs did run on the LNER during the war. Next locomotive up is a Lancashire and Yorkshire 242 tank. Can't remember what its mark is, what class of locomotive it is. Anyway, it looks a little bit like an LNER F345 242 tank, similar sort of size and power, I'm guessing. So I'm using that as a representation of my LNER Eastern Region locomotive. And here it goes. It's a Bachmann model, quite smooth, but it only seems to pick up from 4 wheels, which is a bit disappointing for a modern tank engine. Meanwhile, a Ren Duchess is racing along on the outer lane. Blink and you'll miss it. I brought the Duchess to a halt so you can see it. This one's in the LMS line black livery. Not quite sure when that was. I'm not an expert on the LMS. I'll bring it further forward so you can see the whole thing, and I'll take a different camera view. Let's get that guy out the way. Excuse the hand of God, as they call it. Sounds a bit arrogant calling it that, actually. There we go. There is the Ren Duchess. I really like the black livery, and I think Wrenn did a magnificent job with this. I'm assuming this is the actual livery produced. Anyway, this one set me back about £50 off eBay. It's very powerful. The magnet seems to be fully powered, and it can pull, well, it's pulling 7 coaches, a mixture of Ian Kirk and Hornby railroad style teaks. It could manage at least 10 of these comfortably. So here comes another 8F. This is one of the more recent Hornby ones. I say recent, probably about 20 years old now. I haven't run it for ages, and it was a little bit temperamental to get it going, but it seems to be running quite smoothly now. It's not as powerful as the Hornby Dublo or Wrenn version, but obviously the body is a lot more delicate and sophisticated, you know, more detailed and so on. Yeah, I've just had to do a bit of maintenance on this, and I discovered that it was only picking up from about, well, 2 of the 4 driving wheels on each side. There are pickups on all of them, but they just weren't all connecting with the wheels, and so I'll have to do some tinkering with that. There are pickups on the tender as well, so in theory it could have 6 or even 7 pickups per rail, but it doesn't work like that in practice, and it definitely needs a bit of a proper service, this one. But it's an attractive model. Meanwhile, the push-pull fitted 242 tank takes its local train back up the branch line. Well, this is something a bit different. This is the LMS Turbomotive in its BR black livery. I got this because it was going for a very good price. I think the actual retail price is probably around £350. It's got obviously working headlights, it's sound fitted, it's also got a flickering firebox, and I got it for, well, virtually half that price. And yeah, it's quite fun. And let's listen to it setting off and the sounds it makes. I really wanted a red locomotive in my collection, and I think a Princess Elizabeth, I think that's what they're called, is particularly beautiful. So here's one, Princess Arthur of Connaught, this is, which I managed to pick up from eBay for a good price. The name is rather odd, isn't it? There's some peculiar old-fashioned English tradition of naming the princess of wherever after her husband, a bit like the Princess Michael of Kent. Don't ask me why they still, well, they did that until fairly recently. I think there was talk in 1980 of when Lady Diana Spencer married Prince Charles, you know, was she going to be called Princess Charles? What a strange sounding name that would have been. Thankfully they went for Diana, Princess of Wales, I think was her official title. There we go. Anyway, a beautiful Princess Elizabeth. Well, in stark contrast from the very elegant Princess Elizabeth, we have a Ivatt Class 4 260. I think they were known as flying pigs or something like that. Not the most elegant of locomotives. Let that one come into the station. Yeah, as I say, not the most beautiful of steam locomotives, but effective, and unlike almost all the others you've seen today, these did actually run in East Anglia on the part of what, well, was the Midland and Great Northern Railway, I believe, and they operated towards, well, in North Norfolk at least. Anyway, let's see this one set off down the track. Quite a smooth little runner. There's a squeaky wheel somewhere on this train. Don't know where it is. Second or third coach. And these are my only LMS or ex-LMS coaches, so a reasonably realistic train, I hope. And finally, another locomotive that ran on the eastern region in East Anglia, an Ivatt Class 2 MT. Slightly hesitant pulling into the station, but there's a reasonably close shot of it. I'll zoom in a bit. Yeah, although another Midland design, we'll talk about an LMS design, made about 1948, something like that, by Ivatt. They were used on some Eastern region branch lines, I think a few in the northeast as well as in East Anglia, so this one can authentically be run on my layout. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this running session of LMS locomotives, and hopefully I'll be doing a bit more recording in the next few months if I have a bit more time. Work's been rather busy, but hopefully I'll be able to get down and play with the layout a bit more often. Bye for now.